From various books written on the subject and from recently published letters, we get to know that the thought of making a Hindi film did cross Ray's mind several times, but that he took his time for three principal reasons: his rather limited knowledge of the languages of Hindi and Urdu, the fact that his crew members in Bengal depended on his films for their livelihood, and because he hadn't found a suitable subject yet. Eventually, he did find the subject in a short story written by Prem Chand. Ray made significant changes to Premchand's original story, most of these in the form of addition of context. The film begins with a narration by none other than Amitabh Bachchan, explaining the socio-political scenario in Lucknow during the reign of Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, when everyone, rich or poor, young or old, was rolling in the pleasures of living the good life. The ruler of Awadh, Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, was himself a man of refined tastes, more interested in music, poetry, and dance than statesmanship. Leaving the affairs of the state to his trusted and loyal Prime Minister, he drowns himself in the pleasures of life. Under such circumstances, following the orders of Lord Dalhousie, the then Governor General of British India, a shrewd military officer named General James Outram plans and executes the annexation of Awadh to the British Empire, thus completing a series of politically important acquisitions. The biggest asset of Shatranj Ke Khiladi is its world building. Watching the film, it is impossible to believe that it had been directed by someone who, by his admission, had very limited working knowledge of Hindi and almost no knowledge of Urdu or Awadhi. And that's just the dialogues. Shatranj Ke Khiladi transports us into a magical world of Nawabs and Noch girls, of palaces and forts, of hookahs and Peshawari shawls, of cockfights and kite flying contestants, of Kathaks and Thumris, all with its beautiful cinematography, perfect art direction, immaculate lighting, and hundreds of knick-knacks and props, most of which Ray carefully handpicked. Sanjeev Kumar and Syed Jafri play the two noblemen whose love for chess knows no bounds, not even the ones imposed by family. While Jafri is the warm, jolly, and courteous simpleton, oblivious of the fact that his wife is having an affair behind his back, Kumar is the more aggressive of the two friends, both on and off the chessboard. Amjad Khan plays Wajid Ali Shah with great sensitivity, showing once again his stature as an actor. The Nawab of Awadh, thanks to his softer inclinations, literally gives up his crown without the British army having to shed a single drop of blood. On hearing that the British are coming to overthrow him, when his Prime Minister breaks down, Wajid Ali Shah remarks, "Only music and poetry can bring tears to a man's eyes." His long speech to his ministers upon hearing of Outram's plans is the stuff of cinematic legend, fraught with a music and mix of angst and defiance, and of tragedy that he would no longer be able to indulge in the things that gave him the greatest of pleasures. One would imagine that in a film about chess, it would be difficult to believably portray the passage of time on screen. But in Ray's able hands, such fears are brushed aside, and what transpires on screen is indeed poetry in motion. Satranj Ke Khiladi is one of those rare films that make you realize that even without any background information whatsoever, the makers must have made it with a lot of heart. Ray's skillful tackling of the subject resulted in the adaptation of Premchand's short story into a full-fledged politico, socio-historical and important commentary on the systematic atrocities of the British in India, one that will be lauded by generations to come. To know more of such films about their facts, trivias, and of course unimaginable stories, subscribe to the Film Story and visit the creator's Instagram page. Thank you.